Personally, I don't think anybody should drink any alcohol at all. I just don't think so. And it's not because they're going to get drunk, and it's not because it's going to set off a craving and all that stuff. That is true amongst alcoholics. But even non-alcoholics, I think that your life is better without any alcohol at all, because it just has too many effects that are really bad, you know?
Well, and you don't just mean health effects.
No, I don't mean health effects.
If it was just based on health effects, you should also basically never eat sugar, never have a piece of cake, never have.
Well, that's true.
You know,
well,
chocolate.
Yeah, you know, people.
I mean, the antioxidants in chocolate.
Yeah.
Don't outweigh the sugar content.
Antioxidants
in terms of health benefits, right?
No, they don't.
Yeah.
Although if you have, I think it's like 70%. What's the dark chocolate? It's like 70% cacao.
Yeah, something like the dark stuff.
That's got really good benefits, cognitive benefits.
I love dark chocolate.
So do I.
Isn't it? It's essentially an antidepressant.
I think so.
Right. I mean, it's like you feel different eating chocolate than you do just like a sugary candy.
It does
like
fire off the dopamine
different.
pathways and everything. Yeah. It does,
no, but it does something different. I think I don't know if it's serotonin. I forget what it does, but cocoa, dark chocolate specifically, right?
Yeah.
And I like the really dark chocolate.
Yeah.
Like 80%.
Oh, it tastes good. It tastes good.
Taste good.
Yeah, it's a little bit on the bitter side, but it tastes good.
Yeah, but wine is interesting because people drink wine. How many drinks does it take to get the average person drunk? About like wine, like glasses of wine. People don't really get drunk on wine.
That's subjective because it's.
Yeah, I know. The average.
You're
person.
losing your balance, and you're like before you notice it, before they notice it. I mean, that's all. But it has effect. There's people you have what they call blackout thinkers. Blackout thinkers.
I know a few of those.
I used to be a blackout thinker.
I see a few of those on YouTube actually. A few of those on Twitter.
Yeah. But no, blackout drinkers. Right.
Okay.
So I used to run into people all the time and say, well, I'm definitely an alcoholic. I said, well, how do you know? Well, I black out when I drink. I said, well, everybody blacks out when they drink. What do you mean? Yeah, any human being who drinks enough is going to black out. Okay, and the reason they're going to black out, I've had an experience with...
No, but their point is that they're drinking so much that they black out, right?
Yeah, but that doesn't make them an alcoholic, because a non-alcoholic will also black out if you give them too much alcohol.
I know, but their point is they willingly do it.
They willingly
their point isn't that it does that. The point is that they do it intentionally. Right? I
had a weird experience with a blackout. I used to black out when I drank when I was younger.
Okay.
I would not always black out, but I would drink frequently. I did drink enough to black out, and I don't remember the night, which is terrible. Okay.
I can't even imagine that. I've never done that.
Well, one time I was in Manhattan, and I had too much to drink, and I parked my car. I was driving in Manhattan, drunk. At 10 o'clock at night or something. I don't know why, but I parked my car somewhere in Midtown, and I forget where I was going. I was going to meet somebody somewhere, and I got like 2 blocks away, and then I felt something. I felt like, and I started to black out. You see in the movies when somebody's blacking out, you see
you mean like going unconscious?
Like a tunnel. Yeah. And I felt that happening.
Mm-hmm.
I never noticed that before, and I said, "Oh my God, I'm not going to remember where I parked my car." And I said, and I looked up at the street sign. It said Madison Avenue and some cross street. I don't remember. I said, okay, if I remember where this is, because my memory's good right now. I'm going to go 2 blocks this way and 2 blocks that way, and that's where my car is. And then I blacked out. Now I don't remember blacking out, but I remember coming out of the blackout like at 2 a.m. or something. We're standing in front of some deli in Manhattan somewhere, and I had blacked out during that time.
So okay. So
hours
what does that
later.
mean?
That means I blacked out.
Are you saying blackout like unconscious, or blackout like you were consciously doing things you don't remember?
Oh, I was conscious. Well, I got to where I was somehow. When people black out, you don't know that they're in a blackout.
Right. I'm just trying to figure out what you mean by the term right now. So you don't mean...
I'm talking about the last thing I remember was looking at that sign, trying to remember where so I could remember where my car is parked. So
how did you know that you were entering a...
I don't know. I just had a feeling. I just felt, I felt myself leaving. I was aware of my...
So it's almost like you felt yourself no longer... I don't know if that
going
makes
into
sense.
like going into a tunnel.
Yeah, it's almost like you felt your brain turning off the piece of it that remembers things.
Right.
Or something.
Exactly.
That's weird.
Exactly. Because that's what they do. Like when you get certain anesthesias, when you get surgery, you're awake and they're talking to you. And then you come out of surgery and you don't remember anything.
That's horrifying.
Yeah. And so what they found out,
that's what they say about colonoscopies. Have you heard that?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's true or not.
I believe it is true because because I have that experience with alcohol. What happens is there's what the heck is it? I think it's there's a hormone. No, it's not a hormone. It might be a hormone. It's a I don't know. There's something called glutamine. I'm not sure what that is.
Okay.
But there's glutamine. And if you have a glutamine deficit, you lose all memory. You lose your ability to learn. You lose your ability. If you have low glutamine, you lose your ability to learn. You lose your ability to remember anything.
Yeah.
And that's when you don't remember. And alcohol turns off your glutamine production. So you actually go into a blackout.
Right.
So when you drink, even socially, like not even getting drunk, you're reducing this production. Your memory's not going to be as good when you're not drinking. When you're sober, your memory's not going to be as good. That time that I blacked out, this one time that I remember, when I came out of the blackout, I didn't know where I was, and I just kind of looked around, and I was like standing in front of this delicatessen, and the deli owner came out. It was this Indian guy, and he came out and he says, "Sir, are you okay?" I don't know how he knew I wasn't okay. I must have been standing there for a long time or something. And I said, no, I said, I think I had a little bit too much to drink. I said, I don't remember where my car is. Oh, no, he said, can I call you a cab? And I said, no, I have a car. I just don't remember where it's parked. So he went, okay. And then he went back inside. Then he came back outside and he said, I have a cab coming for you. And I said, I don't have any money to pay for the cab. I said, I don't have any cash on me.
Yeah.
So he said, well, don't worry about it. And this other Indian guy pulled up in a cab and he came over and he said, I'll help you find your car.
Yeah.
And I got in the cab and this another Indian fellow drove me up and down the streets of Manhattan, like in Midtown, like till 2 a.m. It took about like maybe, it seemed like an hour driving around, found my car parked. And I got in my car and drove away. And then he wouldn't let me pay him or anything. I have no idea.
He must have been a friend of the owner or something.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Friend of Bill's or something. I don't know.
Maybe.
But they help. Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of weird. And yeah, so I looked that up at the time, and I remember finding out that when you drink, it restricts your glutamine production, and that's why you don't remember anything. And any people who drink on a regular basis, I don't mean getting drunk or just have alcohol, like, a couple of times a week or something like that. You're reducing your ability to learn and to remember on a continuing basis. And that's why I wanted to show you something.
It's almost weird that you remember coming out of the blackout.
Right.
But the only reason you came out of the blackout is because in retrospect you remember that point and not before.
I remember I was going in.
You actually wouldn't have known at the time.
Right.
But you would only know later.
Right.
Because it affects something called your memory.
Right.
That you access later, you don't access in real time. So you only know looking back when you came out of it. Isn't that weird?
I just appeared in New York City.
But I'm saying but you didn't. Only in your memory.
In my memory, yeah. My memory came back then.
In real time,
right?
It was the same.
Right.
I'm just saying it's kind of weird.
My glutamine production got back to where the memories are actually turning back on again.
Yeah, but it's an aspect of the story that can only be told in memory. It can only be told after the fact. It can't be told in
during
real
the
time.
fact. It can't be told.
Yeah, that's weird.
Right.
That's weird.
So I was meeting people. Who knows? I went. Maybe I don't know. Who knows where I went and who I spoke to? I don't know.
Who knows what you did?
Who knows what I did?
I
don't know. Yeah, so that's the thing. That's why I say that. Here, I wanted to show you something. I knew you were going to bring up alcohol today.
Okay.
So I had something that had particular interest to me. Run 57.
Sure.
This is Charlie Kirk. You know Charlie Kirk?
Yeah. Of course.
Now watch this.
I like Charlie Kirk. Let's see.
You like him?
Yeah, I like Charlie Kirk.
No, you like this guy.
Oh, Gavin Newsom?
Equally insane that people are boycotting Bud Light. I mean, how is that not called out?
I don't drink, but yeah, I mean, like...
Well, you don't drink at all?
I mean, no.
By the way,
He's shocked.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
You don't? Never have?
I have, yeah. A couple years
What
ago.
happened? What, a couple of years ago you stopped?
I stopped, yeah.
Why'd you stop?
I just wanted to be more successful.
I love that. What were you drinking?
Napa Valley wine.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Here we go.
Stop.
So, equally insane.
Napa Valley one. So he's making fun of him there.
He's making fun of him. But the point I'm making here is Charlie Kirk knows that his success is contingent, or the level of success he's looking for is contingent upon him not consuming alcohol.
Right.
He recognizes that.
Right.
He feels that he will be more successful in life if he doesn't drink.
And Gavin Newsom is the type of guy to almost not believe it when he hears it, by the way. He sounded almost incredulous about that.
Yeah.
He was like, really?
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying he doesn't believe him, but
Right.
it's like it sounds like he almost can't even fathom that lifestyle, or it's like he thinks it's even ridiculous too.
He seems like a kind of guy that would want to tie one on once in a while.
Yeah, he drinks, right?
Yeah.
But Gavin Newsom's got a lot going on.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I don't drink either. I don't drink, but I've never
I don't
drank,
either.
Which
No, you never drink.
nobody believes
Nobody
that part.
believes it.
Nobody believes that
Yeah.
part. I've never had a drink of alcohol in my
I
entire
tell
life.
people, my son he couldn't tell you what alcohol tastes like, which is not entirely true because you've tasted traces of alcohol in foods and things before.
I know what like wine tastes like from food.
Right.
Right. But a hard liquor, I have no idea what that's even like.
Yeah,
No idea.
Yeah.
I could recite to you that it burns. That's
burns.
all I got from hearing other people. I
Right.
have no idea.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah. I don't drink because I just don't, well, I'm an alcoholic. I'm a recovered alcoholic.
Yeah.
So I don't drink at all.
Yeah.
But,
But I don't abstain in like a like I'll use stevia extract or vanilla extract and like wine and food and
Right.
stuff like that. That's okay with me.
Yeah.
That all has alcohol in it.
It does.
But I don't drink. I've never had a sip of alcohol.
Right.
Never.
Yeah.
Never. Which people don't believe.
They don't believe it.
And people think it's not even, I mean, you could say it's religious. It's not religious. But if you wanted to make the argument that it is, you could, because I guess it is tied to spirituality in a way. And that I think that being conscious, being aware, being in touch with reality, I think that all has to do with spirituality. A lot of people separate the two. They think that it's different. To me, my deportment has everything to do with my
Right.
spirituality.
Right.
So it's important. So I don't want to get drunk. I don't want to be unconscious.
People misunderstand. They think that people who tend to look at the spiritual aspect of it,
Yeah.
especially like in 12 Steps, which is a spiritual program, it's all about God, right?
Yes.
And they look at it and say, no, if you drink, you're blocking yourself from God.
Okay.
And I'm saying, no, if you're drinking out of a need for the drink, you're already blocked from God. You just don't want to get back to him.
You're just treating a symptom.
You're treating a symptom.
Right.
And that's why alcoholism is not a disease.
Okay.
It's not a disease. It's a symptom of a disease, which we can call a spiritual disease, which is disconnection from God. And you want to disconnect. You have guilt for having resented, for having played God, which is what resentment is. And your conscience sort of calls you back to your creator. You don't want to go there.
Yeah.
So you drink to forget. And then you drink to forget what the drink did to you, and you just keep going. I just want to mention,
Yeah.
and then for an alcoholic, though, what happens is they drink so often, so much, that they develop something within their system, within their body, in the pancreas, in the brain, and the liver, where if they have any alcohol at all in their system, it kicks off a phenomenon of craving. And they crave, just like people who break their pancreas by eating too much sugar. You can, after a while, you get a very strong reaction to sugar. You crave more.
Right.
Yeah.
And I have friends religious friends who drink.
Right.
And they're skeptical of me not drinking. They think it's weird because to them, it's like anything in moderation. Right. So it's like, well, if you can eat sugar, if you can, smoke a cigar. Actually, I've never smoked a cigar either, but these things you can have in moderation. It's like I had a glass of wine with dinner. That's fine.
Yeah.
And I don't tell anybody not to drink. I don't care if people drink around me. I'll hang out with friends and they drink, and that's totally fine with me. Of course. But I just personally don't.
Right.
So,
well, some people bring up, Jesus drank. Jesus drank wine. Jesus drank. Well, first of all, did you know John the Baptist didn't drink?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
At all?
No, he did. He was sworn off grapes, wine, anything that could be fermented.
Huh. Okay.
He belonged to this. He not belonged to it. I guess it wasn't a religion or anything. But he, I don't know. There was something called not Nazarene. What's the word I'm looking for? Nazarite. There was a Nazarite code back then, set forth by Moses.
Okay.
I think there were certain things you could do if you were dedicated to God, certain things you wouldn't do.
Yeah.
And it was forbidden to drink wine, to eat grapes, even, because those could be fermenting. But also they couldn't cut their hair.
Yeah, I mean, now you're going into
Samson couldn't cut his hair. He drank a lot, though.
I mean, that's the whole thing. Is that the Jews have a lot of laws that they follow, and they still follow it now, right? I mean, they have the payas. We're talking about Orthodox Jews now. They still cover their head, all that stuff, and then you have Christians
Right.
who the whole idea is, well, we are the next phase of things where it's like, no, we aren't supposed to be interpreting things this strictly. We aren't supposed to be interpreting God's law this way.
Right.
So that's where you get a major divide in written code versus what's written in your heart. Right. Now we're talking Beatitudes, Sermon on the Mount, stuff like that.
The wine that they drank back in Jesus' day wasn't the kind of wine that you're going to get in a bottle these days. What they did was they added the wine to water. It was very highly diluted. In fact, it was seen as barbaric to actually drink straight wine. Drunkenness was forbidden back then, and they would just use the fermented wine in water to get rid of bacteria and things like that.
Yes, actually, they would dilute it about like 2 parts water to 1 part wine if it was strong,
Right.
or 4 parts water to 1 part wine. So at this point, if you're doing 4 parts water, 1 part wine, you have to have like 4 glasses of wine to equal 1 modern glass of wine.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Right.
Actually, I think the strength of the wine undiluted was not as strong as modern wine anyway.
Right.
So you're dealing with an alcohol content of like 2%.
Yeah.
3%. So that's which is like a really, really weak beer. That'd be like a really crappy beer.
Right.
So even a glass of wine at dinner nowadays would be the equivalent of about 4 glasses of wine back then.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And they were adding it, for medicinal reasons too. Like
Yeah,
they want to make sure
sanitary reasons.
they want to make sure their water's clean.
Sure.
And of course, it's an antiseptic as well. They might use wine to disinfect things. So that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
So it is totally different. And the Greeks specifically thought that if you drank wine straight up, you were barbaric.
Yeah, right.
Which barbaric, actually, you brought up the word barbaric.
Right.
It actually means non-Greek. It means foreigner.
What, the word barbarian?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it comes
think
from
so.
the Greek
That's
word
right.
that means non-Greek or foreigner.
I see.
So it's somebody who's not like us.
Right.
Those crazy guys up there. They just drink it. They just get drunk.
Right.
So, and I mean something like beer's been around for thousands and thousands of years, and I don't think the Greeks drank beer, and they certainly didn't in the Middle East. I think in Egypt they drank beer, but hard liquor wasn't invented till like 1,000 years later.
Right.
It's like the 1100s, 1200s, something like that. So this whole alcohol culture that we have in America and,
Right.
and in the West in general goes back about 1,000 years. And people did not get drunk before that. People did.
Of course they did,
But it
yeah.
was socially unacceptable to
Right.
get drunk. And I mean, imagine if people talk about wine drunk and it's like, oh, we got wine drunk. It's like, which is ridiculous. You would have to drink a lot of wine to get wine drunk. But I mean, if you're talking about 4 glasses of wine is equal to 1 modern glass, you're going to have to drink a lot of that diluted wine to get
Yeah.
drunk. You could only ever do it intentionally. You could only be intentional, right?
Right.
You could never accidentally. It's like, oh, I didn't realize I already had 4 or 5, shots in the past few hours. No. This is like, no, I drank 20 glasses of wine, something like that.
That's a lot of wine.
Ancient wine, I mean.
Yeah.
So, it is definitely not the same thing. But yeah, Jesus did drink. You can assume he drank alcohol because of
Well,
that
he had
in that
alcohol.
way.
Sure.
In that way.
Sure.
But
Yeah. He didn't have that vow.
I'm not even convinced, by the way, and maybe a biblical scholar would be, or a scholar in ancient Greek could better understand this. I'm not convinced that when Paul writes about being drunk, about not to get drunk,
Right.
basically drunkards. I'm not sure that he uses the word drunk the same way that we use the word drunk. Because like you said before, the different levels of being drunk. Well, how do we know that for them, because it was so intentional, you had to drink so much to even get there, that being, a little bit further than buzzed wasn't drunk.
Right.
Right. Somebody that's like, you could tell he's been drinking. He's like a little bit more energetic and happy than usual. What if they meant that's drunk and that you shouldn't do that?
I think they did mean that.
Well, now when people say drunk, they're referring to somebody who's like brazenly drunk.
Oh yeah.
A modern definition of drunk.
Yeah, we're way drunker. We're way more inebriated as a society today than ever.
Right. So if you met somebody who seemingly is in total control, he's answering questions, he's alert, well, not fully alert, but you know what I mean. But who's had a lot to drink.
Yeah.
oh, you wouldn't say like, oh, he's drunk. He would say, no, I'm not drunk. I'm just enjoying myself.
Yeah.
But I think that maybe even the ancient definition of drunk would include that type of thing. I think so. I'm not 100% sure.
Well, what I'm saying about, being totally abstinent has to do with not really feeling buzzed, getting high or buzzed, or even just talkative, that sort of thing. I'm talking about like lasting effects on the brain afterwards, long afterwards, like days afterwards.
Are you talking about health or?
No, I'm talking about being able to perform, being able to succeed in life, succeed in career, succeed in relationships, being able to negotiate things. You're at a disadvantage if you are a drinker. And if you're not a drinker, you have an advantage over everybody in your ability to think, your ability to reason, your ability to negotiate deals, to sell things, to negotiate a raise, dealing with employees, dealing with employers, relationships, your thinking and your memory, and just your overall cognition is going to be affected long term, long after you think you're not drunk anymore. Even when you think the effects of a hangover are long gone, your abilities are just going to be diminished. And a lot of it, I think, has to do with, and I don't even know all of the physiology involved. I just know about that one glutamate thing for memory retention, recall. If that's diminished, you're going to be diminished as a person and dealing with other people.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's why.
And those are logical
I think
arguments.
no one should drink alcohol under any circumstances for any reason.
Yeah.
Of course, that makes me crazy, and I would not impose that on anybody at all. But when I see somebody drinking, I think they have a right to do it.